Well, we will get started then. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to come by. You know, it's not every day that a case in Indian River County generates national media attention. We felt that today we needed to clarify just a few things that are circulating around a case involving Ms. Hunt. This case came to us when the victim and her parents came into our lobby at the Indian River County Sheriff's Office and filed a complaint against Ms. Hunt. As with any case, those cases traverse through the agency and ultimately to the Detective Bureau. The detective that was assigned this case certainly investigated it, looked into the case, spoke with the victim as well as the victim's family, and at some point in the investigation conducted 2 controlled phone calls. And in these controlled phone calls, the victim spoke with Ms. Hunt, and Ms. Hunt essentially confessed to the crimes. The interesting thing about this particular case is Ms. Hunt turned 18 in August, and these offenses occurred in December and January. So clearly Ms. Hunt was an adult in the eyes of the court, and the victim was 14 years old. So we have a situation here where we have an 18-year-old suspect and a 14-year-old victim. And this case was handled much like any other case. The interesting thing about this case is one of the first that we've seen where the social media and the social network have placed this case in high light, if you will. So we're here to answer any questions that you may have concerning this case involving Ms. Hunt and a minor victim. Keep in mind that the victim obviously is a juvenile.
Sheriff, what is the law exactly? I mean, why is this any different from what probably goes on in a lot of high schools every day?
Well, the fact is you've got an 18-year-old, which is an adult in the eyes of the court. This particular case, as mentioned, the victim's family came in into our lobby and wanted a complaint issued. So we looked into this. We discerned a crime had occurred. Law enforcement has a job to do. And when we have those elements that reach criminal activity, that's exactly what occurred.
But what is the law? Is it if you're over 18, is there a maximum age on the victim?
This particular case, yes, your victim was 14 years old. And just because, or there's inferred consent, consent does not matter when it comes to a 14-year-old victim.
Well, I mean, if the victim had been 15, I guess I'm trying to get the outside age. If the victim had been 16, right?
Age of consent, what is the age of consent?
16 years of age.
16, and she was 14 at the time.
Correct.
So if convicted, she'd be a sex offender?
That would be up to the stipulation of the court as well as her, if she has a background, a history.
Do you think, I mean, I know that you're law enforcement, not lawmaker, but do you think it's fair to label her as a sex offender?
That's not for me to comment on that.
Did the investigation occur any differently because this was a same-sex couple than if it had been?
Absolutely not. In fact, we've had similar cases like this in the past with same sex, with criminal charges.
So Sheriff, 14 and 17-year-old, is there a
18.
law break? I know, but I mean, I think the relationship started when they were 17, when she was 17?
We don't have knowledge of that. We know that when the victim and her family came in to file a complaint, that the Ms. Hunt was 18.
Right. But 17 and 14, is that allowed?
Obviously, when you turn 18, you're in the eyes of the court, you're an adult. So the question would be, if she was 17, would she be a juvenile on juvenile crime? Would that have any changes? Perhaps, and all of that would be discerned by the state attorney's office.
Did the parents of the victim seem to have any particular upset with the fact that it was a same-sex couple? Did they allude to that in their complaints?
We don't have any knowledge of that, no. We know that a family brought in a 14-year-old girl as the complainant, and they together filed this complaint. Law enforcement investigated it, and the Ms. Hunt was identified as the suspect, and she's 18 years of age.
Does the mother file the complaint or did the daughter file the complaint?
I believe all three.
Was
Mother,
the
father, and daughter.
So was the daughter at that time the victim? Was she in any way indicating that she felt coerced or taken advantage of because of her young age?
I don't know about that.
She cooperated with you, though, in making the phone calls that you wanted to.
She did.
Talk about that, the controlled call. What exactly is that? I was under the impression that Florida was a two-party consent to record conversations.
Not when there's a criminal investigation.
What do you think of the, you mentioned the national media exposure, shining a light on this case, and then you got the protesters outside. What is your reaction to seeing these people come and, stand outside the sheriff's office with, saying that they don't think it's fair?
Well, again, this is the sign of the times. Obviously, social media is involved, and that's how the communication network is occurring. This could have been enhanced with as the case continues. Now, remember, she was arrested in February. And as with any criminal case, it does take a while for the case to evolve. In other words, the prosecution of the case obviously is continuing on, and I think the closer a particular court date gets, the more anxious other parties are involved.
Explain again, though, a little bit more about how a controlled call works, whether it's this case or any other case. The detective is asking one party to do what for the other?
Right, to develop the probable cause of an arrest. So when we have a victim that comes in and files a complaint, then we take that very seriously, as we do any other case, and that controlled phone call simply procured the probable cause for the arrest. And after the arrest, as you have read, Ms. Hunt was brought here to the office, and after being interviewed, she ultimately confessed to the crimes.
Sheriff, do you?
If not for that control, in other words, if she had simply disavowed all of this, no, I never did anything with her when I was 18, you wouldn't have had a case.
Well, it would also depend on how the prosecutor viewed that. And remember, when you have vocal victims, that enhances the case as well.
Sheriff, did you have any stats on, you said you've had several other cases like this, not necessarily same sex, but just this type of crime. Do you have any stats or even an estimate?
We can get those for you. But we have had same-sex situations very similar to this that did not meet national attention.
Sheriff, so should all 18-year-olds in high school pay attention to what's going on today? And if so, tell me why.
Well, I think in the maturation process, when you turn 18, you're an adult. In the eyes of the court, it's very simple that you're an adult. And those games, those rules to the game change when you become an adult.
So when you're 18, you really cannot date another, I guess, a high school student if they're not 18. Is that correct?
We would not encourage that, no. But I can't tell you what to do.
Did you interact with the school board at all in the expulsion? Did they come to you and ask for any information?
I'm not certain with that part. I do know that when a student is arrested, there are other triggers that go throughout the system.
The group Anonymous has announced on their website and all over that they're getting involved in the case. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm not familiar with Anonymous.
Anonymous is a huge group. Most recently, they've been involved in the girl in Canada who committed suicide after being raped and getting that case reopened, and some other cases. So they've kind of declared war on Indian River County and posted that they're coming.
I'm not certain about that.
I would imagine your investigation proceeds the same whether there are people standing outside this building today or
Right.
not. It's the investigation is the letter of the law.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if we want to view this as same sex, that has nothing to do with it. If this was an 18-year-old male and that was a 14-year-old girl, it would have been prosecuted the same way. It would have been a controlled phone call. He would have been arrested, and I guess that's why this is making the national news.
And just to clear that up, Sheriff, because we've heard two ages for the victim, 14 and 15,
She was 14 at the time the offenses occurred.
and the other girl was 18.
Clearly, she was 18. Ms. Hunt turned 18 in August, and these offenses occurred in the latter part of the year.
And again, the age of consent is 16, so had this young
Correct.
girl been 16, we're not standing here today.
Correct. All right. Anything else?
Did you expect, when this arrest was made, that you would have this type of reaction?
No, we did not. In fact, the arrest was made in February, and as mentioned earlier, as the prosecution of the case progressed, I believe Ms. Hunt's family became actively involved in the social media aspect of it, which brought it to national light.
You said if the younger girl was 16, we wouldn't be here today. If Caitlin had been 17 and the girl 14.
Now remember, if Ms. Hunt would have been 17, this would have been in the juvenile circuit.
So it was still too much age difference, but not on the adult level that we're seeing because she was 18.
Right. She turned 18 in August, the rules of the game changed.